this map here that I'll show you the overview of now. Currently unnamed. Remember to tune in next week for the grand final, Action versus Four Kings. Should be a good match. If Action are going to repeat that kind of excitement. It better be named Disrepute. Yeah, that I shouldn't have really said that it should be named that.
Alright, shout repute.
The VODs will be up soon after, or now, well, basically when I close this down. Yeah, so just going to load up the map now, Vor. I hope you're ready.
Well, I'll just watch what you're doing on stream on it.
Just got to exec all my configs, etc. at first. I mean, this is the kind of thing we hope to kind of do a bit more of, just promote certain elements of Quake, I guess. That's what we're here for, really, isn't it? Quake's our favourite game. We play it. It's our major game, apart from League of Legends, obviously. I mean, obviously, that goes without saying. So, just doing things like this, hopefully encouraging others.
Include maybe games we didn't get to see. We can try and get hold of demos and have a look at the demos on stream and talk about them.
Yeah.
As we can't see every game live, of course.
Right, shall I do it free cam, or shall I run around?
Bit of both, I think, this.
Okay. Okay, that sounds good. I haven't actually...
You even do an NBC fly-through at the end, if you raise your sense a bit.
An NBC fly-through. Right. Okay. Yeah, so welcome to levelupyourgame.net. We're just going to do a little map preview here then. Me and Vor. I'm going to be running around it, and Vor's going to be talking about it. Isn't that right, Vor?
Well, not exactly. You're going to be talking and I'll talk as well, but I think that's better.
Yes, that probably is a better solution. But anyway, this map made by FRS and AKM. As they,
Akuma.
Yeah, but you know, they like to be called by the three-letter name, just like you,
No,
Vor.
they don't.
Well,
yeah, but I don't know.
Anyway, so here we are on the map. If I just bring up the map images quickly, let's just go over those very quickly. So the map overview, we can see it's got a whole bunch of items. The 2 power-ups, rocket launchers. It's got 2 rocket launcher spawns apparently, and 2 plasma spawns. It's got a railgun, lightning gun, 2 yellows, red. All the usual stuff.
The full arsenal of weapons, you might say, this.
Yeah, full arsenal of weapons. Quickly flicking through the quad area looks something like this. Couple of bounce pad leading to that. You can jump across, you can walk around. Let's have a quick look. Red armor room. Kind of reminds me a little bit of the way Ql Tdm. Anybody remember that? The red armor room was a bit like this. I vaguely recall, although I wouldn't really even back me on that one.
Yeah, vaguely like it. I see where you're coming from with the doors leading into it.
Yeah, it's actually
the red armor on a platform.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the doors is an element I'd like to see in a lot of maps. We generally just left with open doorways, which I think makes the gameplay a little bit too free-for-all-y, but...
Yeah, you end up getting too many, I think, shots across the entire map in a lot of maps. Well, not like the entire map, but I think doors do close off certain areas of the map more and mean that you have to really attack as a team, otherwise you're going to get destroyed in the doorway. Or
you get ambushes like we saw earlier. You get instead of just rushing backwards and forwards, you get players building up attacks behind doorways, then going through with coordinated attacks. So it's quite interesting. So we got lots of pipes and objects like that, so you can just do little jumps on, which is also an underused element I find in Quake maps.
Yeah, I mean, it's immediately noticeable when you move around this map. I mean, unlike old Quake 3 maps, which were designed specifically for OSP movement, the Quake Live movement has obviously changed with the slight double jumps that are available now, and this map really incorporates that into it. It's a purely Quake Live designed map. and that is nice to see because uh, it's just more luck, if anything, that some of the old maps can make use of those new jumps rather than actually being designed for it.
Got the Battlesuit area surrounded by a beautiful void. I mean,
That'll look familiar to anyone. Well, it reminds me of that CPM map. I always forget what map it is exactly, but it kind of reminds me of that.
Mega health, nice room with a few jumps in. I mean, we'll talk more about it when I'm just running around it in a second, but just a quick overview of some of these rooms with the images there. Yeah, so let's go in game and have a butcher's. Oh, 2-5 health bubbles there. Anyway, we're starting off in the sort of nothing room, I guess, but this moves up towards the railgun area. You've got a nice little pipe here. Do a few jumps on. This is a bit like an NVC preview, isn't it? But first thing we're going to show you here is the railgun position. Now, something you'll notice about this railgun, I mean, look, it's got two entrances either side. From above, there's an opening here, openings here, so it's a risky position to go through already. Second,
and you're going to hear anyone who tries to pick it up, obviously, so even if you're not in the railgun room, you will hear someone in the water picking it up.
Anybody that's played Duel will know this kind of a water effect here, just like what is it, 27 vertical,
yeah,
whatever it's called.
Furious Heights. It's
Furious
the exact same
Heights.
sort of water as Furious Heights. It slows you down, so you're vulnerable while you're picking up that railgun, but as well as making noise, obviously, to anyone close by can hear you.
Now, I'd say that this room is perhaps a contestable room rather than one of the sides of the map you might hold. What the hell?
Yeah, I mean,
oh my god, it's got a
lot
button that opens up a doorway as well. I didn't notice that. Wow, a button. Anyway, yeah, that opens up that. That's cool. Nice little gimmicky feature. Anyway, yeah. So the idea, I mean, is to make Railgun a risk to get into. A bit like the map we just saw, Hidden Fortress, that it's in an open position. You can take out a lot of damage. It doesn't mean Rail's not going to be used a lot. It just means it's a risk going to it. And hopefully it can generally reduce the kind of the amount of rails on the map that just... So it's not just rail only.
Yeah, well, I think it's always a decision you have to make when you're making a map. Do you put the weapons in places that are easy to pick up, or do you put a powerful gun like the railgun in a position like this that is difficult to get to and can result in you being ambushed picking it up? I think a lot of maps you have to say that some of the more powerful guns are in positions that are a bit easy to hold and easily accessible.
Got all these little jumps you can do all around the map. I'm actually going to move now, just sort of jump a section of the map. We've got the mega health in this room now. You can see it's got 4 entrances. Over there you've got this kind of cave section with a doorway that moves through to the Battlesuit. Underground here, this is to where I started, a passageway through. And in this room you've got 2 of these upper entrances. This one blocked off by bars, so it's not a simple jump from that, but the jump is actually possible. Just going to move around to show you this side of it. Here we go, a couple of shards here, and then the mega health in this area. Shotgun too. I mean, you got a lot of little jumps you can do up. I can't move very well with the streaming setup, but you can make that jump. I'm choosing not to make it now. All right, that's a choice. But yeah, you can make that, and then you got the mega health in this area just by the railgun. Interestingly, I mean, let's remember, and you can drop down from above. Let's remember though that a period of testing will take place with any of these maps. This is an unplayed map at the moment, so item positions could, in theory, change, and maybe some of the geometry of the map, maybe some doorways might be closed up or opened up, or
and you can only really guess at how it might be played from the item layout and the geometry. Yeah,
it's a difficult balancing act, TDM, but so far I think it's a reasonable layout. Anyway, then moving through towards the Battlesuit area, look at this grill area over the void, in this sort of I don't know, what would you call this kind of rocky design? I guess it's like I feel like
wall.
Yeah, but I feel like a mine or something.
It kind of reminded me, like the whole map as a whole kind of reminded me of like a mining colony or something.
Yeah. Do you know what? This bit reminds me of Morrowind.
Okay.
Anyway, going through this doorway, look at that beautiful door. Opens up. And a door, yeah, I know. Remember that good element on DM14 that's on no other maps? A doorway. So we're into the Battlesuit room now. Now, I think that fog looks brilliant. It looks tantalizing looking to jump over to that Battlesuit. You've got a couple of platforms here. I would say I suggested to FRS that I would rather not see voids around power-ups or really on the maps too much.
There's a few ways to look at it, isn't there? I mean, the void is there's obviously going to be battlesuits that fall in the void, but at the same time, it's also, I think it's interesting whether or not you have a void, because it does give the option for teams that aren't going for the suit. They might look to try and just knock the suit in the void rather than actually move in and try to take it. It's similar to DM14, I guess, in that regard. You have a chance to knock the suit in the void. If it's just lava, then the suit is just going to get knocked in the lava and get stuck for a couple of seconds.
Yeah.
But it's whether or not we think...
Well, it's a balancing act.
Do we want to see more battlesuit runs, or do we want to see what can often be exciting or humorous moments where the battlesuit can get knocked in the void?
I mean, yeah, it tends to be whether there's going to be a lot... If you play this map with the void and the battlesuit, gets out most times, then you don't really need to change it. In fact, it's probably better like that. But if the battlesuit's getting voided every time, I mean...
Yeah, that would perhaps be a bit of a cause for concern.
So into this room, we've got, 5 entrances? I think you've got one up there, which is like the raised position. You've got, obviously, the doorway I came through. This, what I guess would be the central doorway through. And a couple of bounce pads as well. This custom bounce pad design they've got there.
Of course, the bounce pad leads up into the red, so...
Yeah.
Similar to DM14 in some ways, that the red side of the map has an advantage for getting to the battlesuit, maybe.
Yeah. Before I do that then, so we've covered that small area there. I'm going to keep on this lower section, move through into this zone here. As you can see, this is exactly where we just came from, the mega health. And then we've got another underutilized element, I think, on maps, a lift, which doesn't actually have a sound effect built into Quake Live, apparently.
It does. So
it just makes this beep sound. Wow.
Which is quite unique.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting.
I don't know how far away people will be able to hear that from, but it would be quite an odd thing to hear initially, I think. A hit sound when you're not shooting someone.
Yeah. I'm sure they'll probably change that and find a way of changing it, but for now that's in. Moving through, beautiful little glass doorway there. Now we're in this upper level, rocket launcher here. There's the red armor. So remember, Battlesuit is essentially kind of below us, down a bit. Hard to explain there.
And just like DM14, it's a red armor room with a rocket launcher.
You've got the 2 doorways either side there. Means you can time attacks ready to move in if they sit too far back into the area. And here's that bounce pad down to the battlesuit. So it's right on the edge of the map, the red armor. It's a holdable room. You've got a few of these little jumps with... I really can't do it with this streaming on. But little jumps with these... what do you call them? Pipes.
Yeah.
So,
well, everyone can obviously see what you're trying to do.
Yes.
It's harder to do it when you're streaming.
Yeah, for some... I don't know why. Maybe my FPS has dropped a bit and my mouse. But anyway, I'm not great at movement anyway. I love all these pipe effects actually just behind glass, so they don't actually interfere with the gameplay too much, but it gives it a real feel of like this is actually something that could exist, a base that could exist that is doing something.
A mining colony.
Yeah, a mining colony. Now you can make that jump. I'm going to fail that again. So
don't worry about it, mate.
Up to the window, and here's the other bounce pad up from the battlesuit here, just outside the red room. So I guess if you're controlling the red room, the key is not to stand inside the red room. It's to move out to more of a central area. If
the other team puts pressure on you, in theory, then you'll get pushed back into red, and they'll find that maybe they'll have a chance to push into suit if they can put enough pressure on you.
So the divide would perhaps be, you'd have to watch out this upper area here and this doorway here. Obviously with this lift, people will be coming in from the yellow side of the map. and could attack you by a lift attack. Although it's, I think in a way, I mean, a lift for such an aggressive area is probably not ideal for forming an attack. Really, I mean, they should be able to defend against a lift. I guess,
Yeah,
especially with the rocket just there.
You can have multiple people come up on the lift simultaneously a lot easier than you would be able to up a bounce pad, of course, where you can end up blocking each other as you try to come up.
So we've got the midfield, we'd call it maybe here, moving through plasma room. One of apparently two plasmas. I didn't actually notice that until I saw the map overview. Actually, I just missed a bit, so I'll go back around. This is more to the red side. You see this corridor through to here. This is the other entrance to Battlesuit, and here we go is the lightning gun. So the lightning gun, really, the advantage is to the red armor at the moment. They should hold this. There's a green armor as well there, and then they should have a good position to lock down this Battlesuit. So moving back through towards this red armor side of the map, and through to the middle, another doorway, creating a sort of airlock effect, I guess. There's the mega health below. There was that drop down that we saw, and we're onto the yellow side of the map. Through these windows, obviously you can do these kind of jumps and stuff.
Yeah, we believe you.
Please believe me, don't try and make me prove it. Yeah, this whole middle section, I mean, it's a bit hard to describe really. It just seems like quite an open zone. Maybe see some interesting combat around here because of the different levels of play.
And the different jumps open up, opportunities where you could perhaps get taken off guard quite easily by the speed at which people might learn to move around the map using all the different jumps.
Then you've got the second rocket launcher of the map we've seen. Oh, look at this circuitry. There's obviously a big computer or something going on there.
Yes, a big mainframe running the mining colony.
Oh, right, okay. And the rocket launcher right in front of the quad damage. Now, looking at this quad room, you've got the bounce pad up to this level here. You've got this middle platform and a bounce pad from this lower area here. Now, remember this? This is where I spawned. So right up here to the quad. And quite I would say an attackable area in the quad. It's not exactly a very open quad, but it is as well, if you know what I mean. Yeah, it's kind of hard to explain. There's so many ways in, but it's not, deadpan in the middle of the room. You don't know which way to look. I mean, when you stand there with the quad, you can see every doorway. So a bit of a compromise, I guess, between being open and killable and being too locked in, I guess, like in Fortress. But
that's what I like about Squadron as well, is there's so many different things you can jump off and ways to jump from one side of the room to the other.
So I'll just go around this corridor here, which links us back up with where we just came from. That was that middle room over there, so where we just came from. And let's see if I could do this little jump. Yes! Made it! You could do a little cool jump on the broken pillar. Back up to here. So actually, let's go back here. Now, a teleporter. Yes, this map has a teleporter. I won't go through it now, though, because it's going to be difficult to kind of grasp positioning if we go through the teleporter. But if I drop down from the broken pillar area, we got the second plasma gun right by this big fan. Now, what is this fan doing? What could it be doing on a mining colony for?
Well,
is it aircon?
They might have a reactor, and the reactor needs cooling, so...
Okay, so the reactor needs cooling, and the mainframe would as well.
Yeah, exactly.
A couple of shards there, really weird position actually, that. But 4 shards worth getting.
Yeah, but I think it's a good idea to tuck in items in areas like that. I mean, it's got a rail ammo in there as well, which I'm sure will be valuable.
So back to this middle room. That's a good point, actually. The rail ammo, and on many maps, the rail ammo needs to be farmed and used up. But it's only 5 ammo nowadays. It's really depressing when you pick it up.
Yeah, it's one of those things I can't understand why it was changed from Quake 3, being 10 ammo.
I think they just wanted to reduce the amount of rail shots on the map, but...
Yeah, I mean, reduce the damage the railgun does and reduce the amount of shots you can make. Interesting. Of course, you're unable to hold as much ammo for the railgun as you were in Quake 3 as well. You could hold 50 shots, I think.
So here we are at the quad again, taking that lower passageway from that middle section. So you can see there's obviously routes to attack the quad already. We've got that lower bounce pad route and
potential to sit back and attempt to maybe hit rails as the quad is being picked up if you're unable to attack it.
I can imagine somebody sitting here waiting for that rail drop down as well, and then bam, takes out the rail and then run away. Anyway, let's go through the other lower exit. Now, hello, here's a yellow armour. Right by the quad, on this yellow side of the map. I'll just stack that up. And look, there's a vent up there. Now, anybody who's played, you know, a game like Half-Life will know what you can do in vents. So I'm guessing if you... Oh, no. Seems a bit locked off. That's strange.
I don't think so.
And we're back at the railgun position, as you can see. Now, the teleporter there. We'll come back to those teleporters. And just making our way back down to our starting position. Here's this pipe again. So, why don't we run round and go all the way back to red armour. And then back round again.
Yeah, why don't we? But while we do
to the
that,
quad.
I think I would say that, you know, this map has a really unique visual style for Quake Live. It doesn't look like any other map. It looks like it could be from a different game, almost.
A modern sci-fi shooter vor.
Yeah, maybe.
Anyway, right, so we better get on with going through those teleporters, Eivor.
I think it's important that, you know, you do get a variation on how the maps look, because, you know, it does get a bit samey, some of the map design in Quake Live.
Yeah, I would love it actually if, say, for another Quake they had literally no limits and you could have maps that are like ice castles and forest maps and just like everything completely any subject. If you can do an arena type gameplay, it doesn't really need to be limits.
That was kind of how Quake 3 was. You know, you had your space maps, you had, you know, then maps like DM14, obviously, which there's no hint of space in at all, is there? You know, totally different styles. But it seems like the maps we play in Quake Live are all from that similar style. You know, DM14 looks a lot like, in terms of how it looks, to a map like Intervention, or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's not that much of a variation between them.
So
you don't have any space maps or anything.
No, yeah, it could really do with a load of completely different themed maps. It would actually just make it a little bit more interesting to new players. But anyway, so this teleporter just literally goes up right next to where you started. Obviously there's tele exit sign there. And now I'll have to go back and find the other teleporter. Well, I've actually forgotten where it was. Where's the other teleporter? Ah, here. That's right, yeah, sorry, this was the tele-exit bit. Oh yeah, it was here, yeah, right. So the column jump, as we saw, the teleporter. Oh, it's one of those ones we can see through as well. That's good. Oh, I found the generators for.
Yeah?
Wow.
It's like a reactor to me.
Yeah. Just for the Quake advert as well. Shotgun in this room. Yellow armour. And a sort of broken bounce pad, I guess. That's just a drop now. So this position here is... where is this in relation to everything else? Ah, okay, in this middle room area. How did I miss that? Ah, right, yes. This is it. This is those... Right, so this is the red armour area. And obviously this is the link, and I guess the zone that you might push attacks from, to and from, between the two areas. Moving back here, yellow armour. So yellow armour actually is relatively close to the red armour on this map. Would you say it's a big map or a small map or a what map for?
Well, while you're running around it and you don't know it, I think it looks bigger than it is, but you know, obviously it's hard for you to do it, but you can actually build up quite a lot of speed in some areas and traverse the map quite quickly. But I think it's not small either, so it's like a medium-sized map.
Yeah. Oh look, a crate. Looks like maybe a bit of TNT in there. Let's try and blow it up. No, it doesn't blow up. Right, okay, so where does this drop go? Let's have a look down here. And we're down to the green armor LG, and that's the link between the yellow side and the red side, another combat zone. So overall, I think we've been over every area of the map now. Yeah, I think what people should do is maybe let their thoughts be known on this map in IRC, maybe to FRS or whatever. But as we say, as it's not able to have been play tested yet, at least.
You can only really guess how it might be
Yeah,
played.
so it's hard. I wouldn't really think about any of the item placements yet in that regard. But maybe some of the geometry.
There's no glaringly obvious
No, there
things
isn't.
you would say. It's not like there's 10 LGs next to each other at the red or something. It's stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, I think on paper it looks like it's a well thought out map layout in terms of items. I think there's so much thought gone into the different jumps that are possible as well, which I really like.
Yeah, they're really nice. Ooh, completely failed that one. By the way, this is Pikmip 0, so tell us what you think about it. When I'm running around, you know, oh there, I did the jump, yes! If I was running around shooting, would it be a little bit too much? Personally, I prefer actually Pikmip streams because I think the game looks a bit more modern.
Yeah, I mean,
sorry, Pikmip 16 or whatever, you know, 8 or
well,
higher Pikmip.
It smooths it out. I mean, you can say, some people would say it's bad graphics when you've got high Pikmip, but I don't think it necessarily is. On some maps, it honestly makes them look better.
Yeah, I would say that some of the
On
old...
a map like this, I think there's a lot to actually appreciate without having Pikmip on.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, so maybe IRC has some questions about it.
I have questions.
Any questions?
I'd love to see all streams in Pikmip 0. That's not really a question, it's more of a statement.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe you could run a demo sometime, not like live stream an actual game, but you could run a demo on stream with Pikmip 0 and see what it looks like.
Yeah, it's hard to tell until you see players playing, and obviously the pace that they move at is a
Will
lot
affect it.
different. If I run around fast, I mean, you can probably see a little bit of a difference already. It breaks up a bit. It really doesn't
You
look
call
as
that
good.
fast?
Well, so I was watching the preview doing it, which is a bit of a retarded thing to do.
Yeah, you can see it has a slight effect, but it's not massive actually. I think
Okay.
when we've tested it before, it's been worse than this.
Yeah. Well, it's a possibility. Of course, also you lose a bit of visibility of the items and the players, but it really depends if you're more interested in a sort of...
Well, people are asking if they can have a download link, but that isn't up to us. The map doesn't belong to us. We're just having a look at it on stream. It belongs to FRS and AKM, aka Akuma. So it is entirely up to them whether or not it will be released for download.
Obviously, I think for it to be included in Quake, a future Quake Live release, it has to be submitted to id, and then they do whatever they do with it. Maybe they change it a bit, it's tested, etc. So I wouldn't say there's necessarily it's going to be taken up anytime soon. Hopefully the quicker the better, but you never know. I'd love to see it tested with players and obviously fine-tuned and improved or changed, or maybe it doesn't need that, I don't know, but that would be great. But other than that, I don't think there's much more to say about them. Actually, I'm going to do a higher
And yeah,
Pikmip.
Akuma was involved with Purgatory as well, yes.
Yeah, I believe Yelak did the design for Purgatory, and then Akuma like did the theming and look of it. I think I'm right in saying.
Which I assume was his main role on this map as well, which I think he's done a pretty good job of.
As far as I know, Dirt, they will have given id permission to use it. Yeah. Yeah, I use a female character in game because the sounds, I find that the footsteps aren't they don't. It's a lot easier to hear the enemy footsteps when you've just got these little female ones, and also the screams. I don't know. You can hear your teammates screaming easier.
Yeah,
So
it's
a
like
bit.
watching Maria Sharapova play.
Yeah, and everybody likes to do that.
Exactly.
So yeah, this is how it looks in Pikmip, for example, and I mean it looks pretty good compared to most maps anyway. You've still got all these physical
I mean,
effects.
it's purely down to preference, isn't it? I mean, I like the way Pikmip smooths out the textures on a lot of maps, and I don't think it looks bad on this map either.
I completely understand when people say that perhaps people turn off from other games, or they're not as interested when they see a stream with this kind of Pikmip. They just think, oh, it looks like an old game, but I don't necessarily think it looks much newer with textures, because I just think a lot of the textures look a little bit dated anyway.
Some of these
or
rooms now just look like a modern home.
Yeah, this is modern living for you. There's the void. Just fly around. Oh, fly under the.
Whereas
Ooh,
Pikmip
wow!
is like an old
It's a trick.
house with like loads of floral wallpaper on it or something.
Yeah. And obviously, you know, it's an old engine. I think it looks pretty good for its age, this engine, but
Yeah, I think it does.
it's
well.
not going to match up to Battlefield 3 or something, no matter
Yeah.
how high you set the Pikmip or low or whatever you want to say.
I always like the way this game looks, not just in Quake 3, but you know, Wolfenstein, Enemy Territory.
Jedi Knight
I think
2.
it still looks good. No, let's not include that.
You still got these boxes on the wall and that. They look pretty good still in Pikmip. But yeah, I consider doing a Pikmip 0 stream in future if it runs fine.
Or maybe we can do a demo, a demo game at some point with Pikmip 0.
Yeah, we'll do a test demo, but I mean, it's hard to tell without seeing the gameplay and obviously seeing how visible enemies are, etc.
I can just give you one of my games where I hit like 50 mg or something, and you can,
Yeah, do 50 mg game.
Pikmip 0 that.
It's got all the ads in already. Yep, so any more questions, let's see, or have you noticed any?
No. The only question people want to know is can they download it and run around on it themselves?
Yeah, that's up to FRS. I would say that he might not want to really, because considering changes will happen to the map, then he
Will
doesn't
there be
want...
another match today? No.
No, there won't be another match. The grand final will occur next Sunday between Action and Four Kings. We
Why
will
would
be
you
covering it.
stream a game 720p but make the quality shit? But it's not really shit, is it? It's just preference. I don't think
It's also a good point, for
Pikmip's
that
walls look bad.
I
I can understand why people think they do look bad, but I wouldn't agree.
I forgot about this point, that actually the problem isn't with the highest quality stream, it's when you go to the lower qualities with the Pikmip. If we
Yeah,
do
you
Pikmip
can't
0,
watch a low Pikmip stream at low bitrate. I don't think it's unwatchable nearly.
yeah.
I've gone offline. What the hell?
If maybe if you want to just lower your quality now to a lower bit rate, maybe 480 or whatever, and then you can maybe see the difference of having all these high detailed textures and that as I move around the map.
Yeah, I mean, I'm watching the stream now, and go back to Battlesuit via the same route. Try and go fast into it. The cave wall, it pixelates. Yeah, that wall there. Because that's quite high detail as far as Quake 3 textures go. Or it looks it to me, but you can see that it has a problem when you go through it at high speed. I wouldn't call that high speed, but then again, it's probably high speed for you.
It's ridiculously high speed for me.
And I think it would be even more noticeable with multiple players on the screen and shots being fired everywhere. I mean, we can test it to find out for sure, but I don't think it will look right. It looks like ESL free stream at low bitrate. I mean, that is bad.
Sorry, ESL premium stream. Ho ho ho. This map is actually watchable on 480 with Pikmip 0. That's the... Yeah, well, we'll do some tests in future, but I mean, you know, one day we obviously want to run it at the highest
Do we?
settings it can be, yes.
Alright.
As long as it's designed well. You don't want a map with some just ugly, distracting textures all over the walls.
Or a
I'd rather
space map.
tune them out now, but most games you can't... Well, you shouldn't really be able to put Pikmip on, in my mind.
Well, if you look at a game like RCW, where they actually clamped the Pikmip settings through Punkbuster, I think you couldn't go more than about Pikmip 3, I think. 2 or 3. Because obviously if you Pikmipped it too much, you didn't have any grass anymore, and you could just shoot people easily.
Didn't have any grass.
Yeah, on maps with grass, where you were sort of slightly obscured from being able to see people easily, then you could see them easily with high Pikmip.
Anyway, right, so I think that is it. Yeah. Obviously, yeah, we might need other little adjustments to our config if we were ever gonna stream in Pikmip 0. Of course, it's kind of like we've got a break coming up. ESH will be over next weekend. So will Clanbase should be over soon. I mean, I have no idea when those games are, but then that's the TDM seasons are over. That's chopped up, finished. I think.
What was that sound effect you made? Was that you chopping something up?
Yeah, that's how I chop up the bodies.
Okay.
Yeah. I think HOQ League are thinking of doing a TDM. I think I read. So maybe
in
we'll.
addition to their CA and CTF that they normally do, of course.
Yeah. No, we won't be streaming QuakeCon. Not been asked to. So